Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fella, has gone to an Oriental hell on Earth to visit his dad, Hai. And if you know anything about the Oriental hell on Earth, that Oriental street justice has used a laser to shave Hai down to just a head and a torso. And Tommy looks over the railings of the cradle he's in, and he says, "Hi, Dad." And yeah, Hai says, "Hi, Tommy. Good to see you. I'm sorry I didn't have more time to spend with you when you were a kid, but I was busy working." And Tommy says, "Oh, it's okay." And he lifts his leg up. He's got his wristwatch on his ankle, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. I got to run. I don't have time. Got to get back to work. But I brought you some cat." Tosses it into the cradle there. Yeah, the Orientals love cats and dogs. No, that is pets as dinner. It's 6 o'clock, and Tommy is not home. So Rhea gives him a call, and she lets it ring a good long time because she knows Tommy has no arms and he has to wait for someone he can trust to answer the phone for him without running off with the phone. And it turns out to be Katie the cat cook from the Cat's Got Your Tongue wanting some more. And she says, "Oh, there's nothing wrong. He just stopped for dinner before coming home." She hangs up, and then a tearful Rhea calls up her grandpa in Alabama, and she says, "I'm going to lose my future husband to a diner. Can you send me some exotic southern recipes?" And he does. Porcupine, badger, otter. And it turns out that the recipes for beaver work particularly well for cat, the Oriental delicacy. Rhea has just tried on a pair of shoes when she hears this commotion outside the store in the mall there. It's a little kid yelling, and it's Tommy cussing in Chinese, so she goes outside just in time to see a little boy dressed as a cowboy, his mom, taking that lasso off of Tommy. And the little boy keeps yelling, "Mommy, Mommy, don't let him get away. He's a real life totem pole." Yeah, Tommy, he made the mistake of wearing, Tommy the no-armed Chinese fella, made the mistake of wearing that curly t-shirt. And he kind of looks like a totem pole. Tommy is the no-armed Chinese fella. And he's just gotten home from work, rides his unicycle. He doesn't need the handlebars, he doesn't need a bicycle. He's gotten home, and Rhea, his girlfriend, tells him, "You gotta look nice. My mom is coming over for dinner. Go get a haircut. Don't go to your barber. Go to my hairstylist, Sherry." And she pins the money to his chest, and Tommy goes in there, and the first thing he says is, "Can you put the Three Stooges on?" She puts the Three Stooges on, his favorite show. And she says, "What do you want?" And he says, "A mo." And he gets all excited with the Three Stooges on. He laughs and chuckles, and she gives him a mohawk, not a mo. And yes, when he gets home, Mom wants to know if he's in a rock band. Tommy, a no-armed Chinese fella, is the average worker of the Oriental unseen business, the Chinese streets. How did he get to be missing both arms? Blindly obedient. He stuck his right arm into a wood chipper, and Lefty, the left arm, wisely jumped off, leaving him with no arms. Got him a promotion, and he's bossing a whole lot of folks around. And one thing about the unseen business of streets is they got a whole lot of folks in and out of the shoes of one person. It's a gene pool kind of thing. And Tommy is moving 7 different Karens in and out of the shoes of one Karen in an office building. And one of the Karens is a foot taller than all the rest, and she's worried somebody's going to notice. Tommy says, "Well, just put a bow, a big yellow bow on all of the Karens," and yet one of the guys suspects. But he says, "Well, she's got that big bow, it must be Karen." Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fella, likes his tacos. And as he is pedaling on his unicycle to work, at the top of the hill, he sees this taco truck. So he stops, but unfortunately so has the bully. The homeless bully Tommy made fun of in public is there, and he's got it out for him. So he takes him to skateboard nearby, some duct tape nearby. He duct tapes Tommy, no arm guy, to the skateboard and sends him down the hill right into MacArthur Lake. If it wasn't for these two cops, Red and Vince, going after him for going through stoplights without stopping, yeah, he'd have drowned. They had to fish him out, took him up to Rhea, and left him there, duct taped. Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fella, has a day off, and he's doing it right with some popcorn, with some cola, straw, of course, and the Three Stooges. But the bully keeps calling up with crank calls, and he says, "Is Stu there?" And Tommy says, "There's no Stu here." And he says, "I know he's there. Is Pid there?" That's his last name. And Tommy says, "There's no Stu here. There's no Pid here." But the bully can be very persuasive when he wants to be, and he actually talks Tommy into going into the bathroom, looking in the mirror, and yelling out real loud, "Is Stu Pid there?" The full name. Tommy finally catches on. He says, "Call back at 6 o'clock. That's when Rhea gets here." And she answers the phone, Tommy chuckling, and without, missing a beat when she's asked about stupid, she hands it to Tommy, that no-armed Chinese fella. Tommy is the no-armed Chinese fella. How did he get to be missing both arms? Being blindly obedient. And he likes to have his AA meeting at Alice Bar. The whole AA meeting likes to have the meeting at the bar because, right after the meeting, they got the refreshments right there. Tonight, Juanita is getting up in front of everybody to tell her story, how she lost both of her arms. Tommy stuck the right arm into a wood chipper, the left arm wisely jumped off. Juanita lost her arms because of either a drunk or incompetent doctor. She went in and, yes, came out without the boobs and missing. And she says, "Write down on those two boobs, girls, if you go in for it. Enlarge these, write down on your legs and your arms. Do not take these off, Tommy." Tommy is a no-armed Chinese fellow who doesn't like to tell anyone how he lost both his arms. His boss told him to stick his right arm into the wood chipper, and he blindly obeyed, and the left arm wisely jumped off, leaving him with no arm. So Tommy goes to his AA meeting at the bar to get ideas from other folks about, how he lost his arms. Amputees Anonymous. And Tommy's done with the AA meeting. He goes over to the bar, and Al, the bartender, has his drink there, of course, a straw, because he doesn't have his arms. And Tony's new, and he asks, "Hey, why do you have your AA meeting at the bar?" And Tommy says, "Duh, so that we can get drinks afterwards." And he wants to know, how'd you lose your arm? And he uses Hezekiah, the Amish guys. He said, I fell off the wagon, and then 2 wagons rode over each arm. Tommy, the no-armed Oriental worker of the Great Wall of Evil, has been called in to his boss Wu's office, and so has his arch rival Bing from Chinese Asshole School. And Bing's sore about Tommy being promoted to the Northern LA Stone Cold Melton impersonators. I'm one and only. They got countless impersonators of me. Look for the documentaries. He's sore about that. So to get back at him, he knows what Tommy misses most about losing both of his arms, picking his nose. So he starts, trying to pick his nose there in front of him. And by the time Wu comes out, Tommy has kicked off that loafer and got his toe as best he can up there in the nose, trying to pick his nose. And Bing says, "Well, Wu, I guess you picked a winner with your impersonator manager." Tommy is a no-armed Chinese fella, average worker of the unseen business, the Chinese unseen business, the Oriental streets. He lost both his arms being blindly obedient. His boss, Wu, told him to stick his right arm into a wood chipper as a test of loyalty. He stuck that right arm in, and the left arm, wisely jumped off, leaving Tommy with no arms. He got a promotion, but still, no arms. And he discovered right off that he doesn't like driving as much. He's a very animated driver, and he had no arms to drive, but he has to drive with, his teeth. Not, 10 and 2, but 12. And he likes to yell at the other drivers, and it doesn't help that he's got a manual transmission. So, yeah, he started using his unicycle. Tommy, the no-armed man, is out with his girlfriend Rhea when a whole bunch of Chinese tourists show up, and one says, "Look, it's Tommy." And they all start taking photos of him, asking for his autograph, and yes, he's signing with his mouth, no arms. And Rhea wants to know what's going on, and the tourists tell her he's legendary. He's won all kinds of contests in China, a nose pecker. And one of them wants to know, "Tommy, what happened to your arms?" And Tommy doesn't like to tell him. He stuck the right arm in a wood chipper and the left he wisely jumped off, so he says nothing and looks embarrassed. And Rhea comes to his rescue by telling everyone he was in a contest here in America, and one of the opponents didn't want to lose, so they came in and cut his arms off in the middle of the night. And Tommy says, "Don't worry about it, I'm going for a comeback," and kicks off that loafer, and yes, one of those toes goes up his nose. Tommy doesn't like to drive anymore. Not since the wood chipper incident where he lost both his arms. What with shifting gears and steering, and yeah, he's got to do all that with his mouth because the feet have to operate the pedals. He doesn't like driving, so he lets Rhea drive, but tonight he has to. He sees those blue lights in the window, and Rhea has had too much to drink at the Snake Pit where they met, the popular dance club. So he jumps over there, and when the officer tells him, "You were swerving a little bit," Tommy says, "Well, I had to pick up my phone." And he does the field sobriety. He does it pretty well. He touches his toes to his nose, and yeah, the officer has a good story. And Tommy, you don't use the phone while you're driving. For those of you who don't know, The Streets, the Unseen Business is about, well, part of it's about putting a whole lot of folks in and out of the shoes of one person. Genefuls of folks even. And Tommy is a manager. The no-arm guy is a manager of the streets, and he is in charge today of putting 5 different Karens in and out of the shoes of one Karen, the character. As she applies for a job, the tall one, the short one, they're all the same one. They all look alike, but the skinny one, the funny one. And Tommy thought he messed up. He stepped out for a cigarette, stepped out to put money in the meter. They switched, goes to the bathroom, and when it came time for the interview, he thought he messed up because he put the dumb one in. But it turns out the interviewer liked the dumb one. So the next day he found out he did right because the dumb one got him hired. The bully is helping Tommy out. Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fella. He got on the bully's bad side one time because he demeaned him in public. He was yelling and screaming at him on the street in front of everybody and said, "This guy has like $100 million more than I got." And the bully's had it in for him ever since. I don't know what it means either. But the bully is helping Tommy out. He's knocked on the door. He's taking Tommy home. And Rhea says, "What's wrong with Tommy? He's making all kinds of funny noises." And the bully said he was riding home on his unicycle and a power line fell off the pole and fell into his pants and's been zapping him. And he's making the odd sounds. And Tommy, when he regains his senses later on, he will swear that it is the Great Wall of Evil's consequence, his lightning ball. Tommy is the no-armed Chinese fella, and his girlfriend Rhea's worried about him. She's got cat on the table. Dinner ready? Yeah. The Orientals love the cats and the dogs, no, not as pets. As dinner. And she calls up Mia from work, and she says, well, he left with us a long time ago. And so she gets in her car, Tommy's car. He doesn't like to drive, it hurts his teeth. And she drives down to where he works, his office, and she hears a muffled help. And she knows it's Tom. She goes over, and very nearsighted as Tommy rested, he had a long hard day, rested leaning up against a pole before he got on his unicycle to go home. Nearsighted city worker wrapped him up with the wrapping paper around the pole. Tommy was a professional nose picker before he lost both his arms. Yeah, back in China he actually won championships. It is a highly respected art form in the Orient. In case you've seen, Oriental folks on sidewalks, in stores, in restaurants are picking their nose, that's why. It is what he misses most about losing both his arms. His boss told him to stick his right arm into a wood chipper. Lefty, the left arm, saw what was going on with righty and wisely jumped off. It's what he misses most, and good luck getting his girlfriend Rhea to pick his nose for him. Well, outside of that Saturday night kind of thing, their regular date. Rhea is out of town, Tommy's girlfriend, and Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fella, has the place all to himself for the weekend. And it's just in time for that big Three Stooges fest. All weekend long. He's got some cat, scotchy tongue and wanting some more. On the way, yes, he's Oriental, likes the cats and the dogs, no, not as pets. And he thinks it's that, a delivery for a cat, and he goes and it's a guy from the really sharp chipper company. He says, I got a delivery for you, a nice big sharp chipper. And he says, I didn't order a chipper. And the guy says, is this your signature? And Tommy says, yes, that's my signature, but I didn't order a chipper. Where do you want it? And he says, put it in the garage. And yes, that cat shows up laced with sleeping powder, and unless Rhea had gotten home early, Lefty would have shipped Tommy up in the garage. Rhea has sent Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fellow, down the street to pick up some photos from Phil at the drugstore. And he gets in and he says, I'm here to pick up the photos. And Phil says, is that your girlfriend that keeps taking photos of you? And he says, yeah. He said, well, no offense, but she's not very good at photography. And Tommy says, yeah, well, yeah, she keeps making me look stupid. And Phil says, oh, no, I wasn't talking about that. The way she keeps cutting your arms off. And he looks over that tall counter, the very short. Tommy, and Tommy's there with the money in his mouth. He puts the money down on the counter, picks up the photos, and he goes out the door. I'm Melton, son of a carpenter Mary. Daddy carpenter worked on skyscrapers. Mom Mary Ann. I'm the son of a carpenter Mary. I get to tell parables, and there's where you can find a whole lot of my photos. Bring me out. I'll keep you company. Tommy is the no-armed Chinese man. Lost both his arms in a wood chipper incident. And as you know, the Orientals love the cats and the dogs. No, not as pets, as dinner. Ask them if they're honest, they'll tell you. If not, you know. And when Tommy and Rhea got together, he tried to hide his cat eating from her. Till one day, she found a bucket of cat in the refrigerator, and she was eating away. And she said, Tommy, what is this? And he said, it's the cat's got your tongue. Oh, wanting some more. Oriental diner. And she thought for a minute. She said, this is cat. And she yelled and screamed at him. But later on, that night, he looked into that kitchen, and sure enough, there was Rhea back at that cat's got your tongue. Tommy is the no-arm Chinese fella who does a mean snake dance. He's always been scaly. He always talked with a harsh lisp. He likes to stick his tongue out a lot. And since he's lost both his arms, he does a very mean snake dance. He won Rhea's heart on the dance floor at the Snake Pit. Go figure, a dance club somewhere here in LA. So they go back every month for their costume dance contest. And this month, Rhea had a great idea. She knows a store owner with some mannequins, put 2 mannequin arms in her backpack. And they were dancing up a storm until, Tommy found out why they won the contest. He says, I've got his arms in the backpack and his balls in my purse. Everybody thought it was hilarious except Tommy. So Tommy's on his way home from work. He's the no-arm Chinese fella. On his way home, he gets to the top of the hill. It took him all of his strength to ride that unicycle. Doesn't need a bicycle. He's missing both of his arms. Took all he could do to get up to the top of that hill. And then, he stopped to rest for just a moment. Lost his balance. And yes, he went tumbling down that hill. And Jim J. and Charlie M., 2 Mormon LDS Latter-day Saint missionaries, happened to be out looking to interrupt somebody's dinner and saw an opportunity to get a leg in. So yes, they went over to see if Tommy was all right, and he went down quick, but the unicycle took a little while. It's got more resistance. And Tommy looked at the unicycle and said, oh, that unicycle don't work no more. And that's how Tommy became a Mormon. Is Tommy, the no-arm Chinese fella's day off, and Rhea wants to know, his girlfriend, wants to know why he's got this big bird on his shoulder. And he says he's going hunting. Yeah, the Orientals love the cats and the dogs. No, not as pets, as dinner, and you can't exactly buy that stuff, cat and dog, on the grocery shelves. You have to go out to the alleys and hunt. And Tommy does that. He's got the bird on his shoulder. And sure enough, his plan works. This big alley cat comes running, sees the cat, jumps up to try and catch the cat, and Tommy catches the cat. Jumps up to try and catch the bird, Tommy catches the cat. And, the bird doesn't like it, because birds don't like cats, and scratches up his arm. And the cat doesn't like it. It doesn't like being held by its tail, so it scratches up Tommy's belly. But he's got dinner. Ethel has just brought some fresh baked cookies and apple pie to all her neighbors. She gets back home to Henry. He's watching TV, and she says, Henry, I think that Oriental fella is a punk rocker. And Henry says, the one who's always carrying around that cat by its tail and his mouth? Yeah, him. For a while there, he had that mohawk hair cut. And I just went to give him and Rhea the pie and cookies, and he had a ornament through his lip. Yeah, that's what happens when Tommy tries to decorate the tree before Rhea gets home. Tommy is the no-arm Chinese fella, and he's at the laundromat with his girlfriend Rhea, and she has to go down the street to do some shopping, and she says, watch the clothes. And he's sitting there, he's kind of sulking, and there's some college kids doing their laundry, and you know how mean college kids can be. One of them says, hey Tommy, your mom left a shirt in the dryer here. And he says, my cool shirt? And they say, yeah, it looks cool. It's he saw that everybody at work had this cool shirt, so he wanted it and got it. And he jumps in, like best you can guess what happens next. He's very dizzy that night and sick, and the next day Rhea has to drive him because he's a trooper. He wanted to go to work, and his unicycle was going in circles. Jim J. and Charlie M., two Mormon LDS missionaries, are in the middle of praying on the elderly and knocking on doors and casing neighborhoods when they see this tree with some mistletoe in it, so they take a break. Meanwhile, Tami, the no-arm Chinese fella, going home after a long day, pedals that unicycle. Yes, no arms, so he doesn't need the bicycle. Pedals that unicycle to the top of the hill, and he runs out of energy. He falls over, tumbles down that hill, right in between Jim J. and Charlie M. And yeah, they're always looking for a leg in, so they ask, "Are you all right? Can we get you a cartoon Bible?" And Tommy's unicycle finally reaches the bottom, and he says, "That unicycle don't work no more." Tami is the no-arm Chinese fella. How'd he get to be missing both arms? Being blindly obedient. His boss Wu told him to stick his right arm into a wood chipper. He did that, and Lefty, the left arm, wisely jumped off, leaving Tami with no arms. But a promotion, he's bossing a whole lot of folks around on the streets in the unseen business. And Mia is one of those. He's bossing around. She's come back to the office. She says, "I need a towel." Never let Tami borrow your car. Yeah, all he's got to drive with is, you know, his mouth, his teeth. And Leah says, "Oh yeah, I learned my lesson with the phone. I can't get the cat's got your tongue and wanting some more off the speed dial." And Ching says, "Yeah, and don't let him borrow a shirt. He's going to take the arms off." Tami was told by his boss Wu to stick his right arm into a wood chipper, and he blindly obeyed. And Lefty, the left arm, wisely jumped off. And that got him a promotion. In the streets, the unseen business, the streets, the unseen business involves moving a whole lot of folks in and out of one pair of shoes. Gene pools of folks. And Tommy's now a manager, and as part of that, he calls in one of the Karens. He's moving a whole lot of Karens in and out of one pair of shoes, one character. And as he says, "Karen, I need to talk to you about something," Mia, right next to him, hauls off and kicks Karen in the shins. And Tami says, "I'm sorry I had to do that, Karen, but yeah, the other Karen bumped her leg on a coffee table, and you got to have the same bruise." And she says, "You stupid son of a bitch." After she gets through jumping around on one leg, she says, "You stupid son of a bitch. You should have just told me to wear long pants." Tami, the no-armed Oriental fella, is on his break from work, and he likes to go down the alleyways and look for stray cats. And all of a sudden, these paramedics show up. Apparently, there's been an accident at the meatpacking facility. They found two arms. They have them in the cooler, but they can't find the guy they're attached to. They were attached to. They say, "Are these your arms?" And Tami says, "Yeah, he's a little Oriental fellow, and these arms are big and muscular." And they take him to the hospital to reattach the arms. He has a great time. He picks Rhea up. He catches cats. He waves. But after 2 days, the body rejects. They turn green. They have to take him off. And he's back at the AA meeting at the bar, Amputees Anonymous, and there's this new guy there who just lost his job and his arms. Tami is the no-arm Chinese fella. And since he's lost both his arms in that wood chipper incident, fed the righty into the wood chipper, lefty the left arm, wisely jumped off, his yard has become very disheveled. And Rhea, his girlfriend, since he met her, she's out trying to fix the yard up. And he tries to help out. He goes to the push mower, has her started. He gets in the handle and he starts pulling, and the squares in the backyard there. And of course, the backyard has the alley. And he sees the biggest alley cat dinner. Yes, they love cats and dogs, not as pets as dinner. And he chases with the lawnmower. He chases the The cat catches it with its mouth, and he's yelling a muffled yell for Rhea to come help, and she says, "Stop, Tommy, don't." He turns and looks around, lets go of the cat, and there's that big wood chipper upside down, looking right at him. Rhea, Tommy's girlfriend, gets that call she always dreads. He's in the hospital, and he ends up in the hospital a lot. She rushes there, and Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fella, is in bed, and they have an inexperienced nurse there taking his blood pressure, and they never know what to do because he doesn't have arms. So, they put it around his neck, and his eyes kind of bulge out, and it doesn't take right, so they want to take the blood pressure again. And Rhea, gets that nurse out of there, and she finds out what happened at work. Tommy is Oriental, and he was sick, and his hair kind of fell over and looks like a butthole. And he's puking in the toilet, and he sounds like he's farting when he's puking, and none of his ungrateful employees would give him mouth-to-mouth. Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fella, is reluctantly going to the movies with his girlfriend Rhea. Why reluctantly? Because the last 2 times they went to see the Three Stooges, and they went to go see a karate movie, and Rhea put her foot down. She says, "We're gonna go see a nice romantic movie." And Tommy is the best person around as far as movie watching goes, because he's not gonna fight you for the armrest. And Rhea, she gets to enjoy the armrest, but not for long, because Tommy wants a hot dog. He wants the popcorn, and she has to go get the snacks. When she gets back, he wants more and more ketchup, and you guessed it, by the end of the movie, when they turn the lights on, he's covered in ketchup, yes, missing those arms, and that nice romantic movie turns into a horror movie with folks running out of there screaming. This is my Tommy. My Tommies for November. The minute ones, I've gone to the minute Tommy purples because of my insulin poison. I just don't have the energy to do 15-20 minutes. So check this out. When you see this playing at a party somewhere, it takes up 77 megabytes. It's a fast tone slideshow. This thing is, you can scroll through it. It's got my fob, it's got all the imagery from November. 9/11, Flight 93, checking posted 5. That's where all my stuff ends. When my fun stuff, my mean stuff. When you pick up that phone and see your phone not working, a lifeline not working, make a video of that, pass it along, and tell everyone the Tommies come from that man in the shadow with a lot of truth.